Welcome! This is episode number 9 and this episode is going to be all about comics, illustration and animation. Before we get started though, I would like to give a shout out to all my new subscribers. I posted a tweet about 3 or 4 days ago and it went a bit viral and it's been insane like the past week. The tweet had millions of views at this point, 3 point something million views. It feels surreal to actually have a tweet go that big. And if you're interested and you're not following me on Twitter, go and check it out. To all new subscribers, welcome. I'm glad to have you guys here. My name is Harvey Newman. I love animation with a passion and I like to share it all with you guys here in this channel. There's quite a lot of things that people that either love animation or are just interested in animation can learn from this channel, and I hope you guys stick with me to find out exactly what I have to share. So, one second. Yeah, I am definitely up to watch some Spider-Man today. Woo. Oh, and Elliot is coming too. Nice. Well, I will have to leave the intro there. So this episode just turned into all about Into the Spider-Verse. So let's do this. Let's go outside. Let's watch this movie and I'll tell you all about my experience next. We're here about to see Spider-Verse with Elliot from
Development Updates.
and CJ.
Hello. Hello guys.
Designer extraordinaire, YouTube extraordinaire. Elliot and I are going to see it for the first time.
Yeah, right.
CJ has seen it before.
Third time.
Third time. God damn. So yeah, I'll tell you guys what I think afterwards. CJ, he's been raving about it.
A little bit.
Supposedly it's really good. Let's find out. Elliot, you think it's going to be good?
Yeah, after hearing CJ's praise, I'm excited to see it.
Right. So we just came out. Elliot, what do you thought?
I really liked it. After seeing the first trailer, I was a bit like, I wasn't sure what to expect. I was really happily surprised it lived up to the hype. But overall, very good movie with a lot of surprises that I liked.
CJ?
Well, my opinion is pretty much the same as the first time I saw it. Like I'm basically
Third time?
blown away every time I see it.
Yeah.
It's the style, the animation, the music. Basically, it's like I have very little things to complain about with this movie.
Yeah, I think exactly the same. I've been collecting this comic since the beginning. You guys didn't know that. And to actually see it in the movie, it feels like that's exactly the movie that I've been waiting for as a comic fan.
Yeah, I can imagine if you are a comic fan, this is even better because I pretty much never read any comics at all.
Yeah.
So all these characters, most of the characters except for like the main characters were kind of new, and that wasn't a problem for me. I still enjoyed it a lot, and I thought it was really interesting because that was more of a surprise when they popped up.
Exactly.
Versus I can understand if you've read all of the comics that were included, you'd be like, that character, that character.
So yeah, overall, super happy about it, and thanks for inviting us.
Thank you for coming.
Thanks for making it happen. That was an experience watching that movie. It was really, really cool. I read someone on Twitter saying something like, not since Toy Story 1 has a movie been so challenging for the animation industry, so different. And I think it's true. As I mentioned, I collect comics. I love comics, and I actually wanted to be an illustrator. That was my dream originally when I was just a child, and then it turned into an animator. I thought I would show you some of the stuff that I've done over the years. Here's my portfolio from back in the day. As I was watching the movie, I was like, this movie was made for me. I used to do graffiti back in the day. It's beautiful, it was really, really cool. I love the medium. We have Hellboy over here, which is a homage. This was my own comic with my own characters. Let me know in the comments if you like me to do some illustration here in the channel. I've been collecting this comic, as I mentioned, since the beginning. Let me show you. It's all of the Miles Morales comics that I've collected so far. It all started with this comic. On my way home, I was thinking, what can I do and what exactly did I feel more moved out of all the things in the movie, and what connected with me the most was definitely the fact that they actually put together comics and animation and just blend it all together in a way that like it's astounding to me. I come up with an idea that I'm not too sure if it's gonna work out. Let me see if I can find the paper. This is the stuff that I came up with. You guys are not going to understand it, but it makes sense to me. So what we're gonna do next is basically, this needs to actually be in Photoshop in a readable way so you guys can understand it. So let's try and figure that out now in Photoshop. Let's do this.
I'm trying to copy my doodles that I've just shown you. So I have a hand on the left, on the top left. I'm thinking the hand is going to shoot a web. The web is going to stick to the wall. We're going to have like maybe a graphic in the middle. I'm thinking a wall running, perhaps. I'm not too sure exactly how to make it work. After you see the web sticking in the wall, and after he finishes running on the wall, he jumps off an edge and goes around a corner of a building. Here I'm trying to figure out the poses. I Google some poses, I make up some poses as I go, something that looks spidey and something that is pushed, because at the end of the day, that's where the fun lies, on those pushed spidey poses. So this is pretty much it. I'm just trying to refine the last pose, and here's the final result.
Alright, so we have our drawings in Photoshop now. I'm feeling it, but at the same time I'm thinking, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do this in a week, because it's a lot of work. But okay, so let's do this. I am going to try to do as much as I can within this week in order to actually have maybe a proof of concept. We're gonna have the first web throw, and then after the web throw, we're gonna have like a graphic, and then after that, we're gonna have like a web sticking to the wall. It cuts some way, somehow in an interesting way. After he comes running across a wall, it cuts in an interesting way again, and then he actually slings by around a building and then just flies past the camera. So that's the idea, and I have exactly 4 days now to do it, because obviously I already spent the day trying to plan this out as best as I could. So the animation is not going to be the best animation ever, but hopefully it will give you that sense of like a web comic. So let's try and do this. Wish me luck. Next step is Maya, and try to put it all together as best as I can. Let's do it.
So the first thing that I have to do is tackle this big shot that it's when he swings around the corner. This is going to be the one that is going to take the longest and the most complex. So I'm trying to replicate the poses that I've drawn, trying to push them as much as possible. I know that I'm going to push them more, but at least it's a good start. So on the web shooting, there's not much. He's genuinely just shooting a web and grabbing the web after shooting it, simples. And this here is just like the web sticking to the wall. When he runs on the wall, there's quite a bit more to it. It's not as big as the first shot, but here I'm trying to get the poses to look once again as pushed as possible. I know that I'm going to push them more as I clean it up, but I am trying to actually get the movement of the swing to feel convincing. When he hits the wall from swinging, I want it to be hard, but not too hard, because at the end of the day, he is Spider-Man, so he's in full control at all times. A few steps, and basically just do a 1-2 step here, just to signify that he's going to be stepping, and then jump.
So we got our blocking done. Now that I've seen things in 2D, now I need to see it in 3D. So this is it, basically me seeing things in 3D. The next step is basically for me to grab all those assets and then bring them to Final Cut, an editor, in order to actually make sense out of them. Also, I need to put interesting transitions in order to make it more like a moving comic, because that's one of the things that the movie did so well. They introduced a lot of comic elements in order to actually create transitions and to allow them to actually carry the story forward in a very visual way, which was beautiful. So I would like to, obviously not replicating, but in the best way I can, to kind of just come up with my own way of creating comic transitions. Like, how would that look like? I don't know. Let's find out together. That's what's coming next.
So this is gonna be very simple. I'm just trying to get my assets into Final Cut to make sure that I can quickly whip up a work in progress, something that allows me to visualize where I'm going with this. I don't want to spend too much time in Final Cut, because at the end of the day, I do need to actually spend a lot of time animating. So I need to actually kind of get this done and wrapped up, just to prove that this is gonna work in the end. And at this point I'm thinking, yeah, I can see potential in this.
So things are working pretty well, and I'm starting to think that perhaps this actually might work out. Bear in mind that it's not going to be final, it's not going to be polished, it's not going to be pretty, but it's going to be a proof of concept, and I think as a proof of concept, perhaps might work. I like what I'm seeing, so I'm going to carry on doing it. I'm going to go back to Maya and flesh out the animations more. I'm going to go back and forth between Maya and Final Cut. Most likely you will see just the Maya side, because that's where I'm going to spend more time. Final Cut is just going to be re-importing, seeing the results, and then going back to Maya. Let me know in the comments if you guys would like more detail next time. So let's go back, flesh this out a little bit more, bring it up to a new level, and see where we go from there.
Okay, so we're back at polishing things a little bit more. But now that I have the peace of mind of knowing that in Final Cut things are looking okay, and I have to just polish and make everything look better than it is at the moment, I need to start with the animation. So back to that final shot, to that big shot, which is the one that takes more time, and since is the shot that the viewers see the most, I spend the most of my time here, making sure that things look quite nice. I can see that there is problems here and there, but I deemed it final because I need to move on to the next. So on the wall run, once again, this is the second biggest shot, so I decided to tackle this one second. And on this one, I need to make sure that the feet are in contact with the wall as best as I can, because those are the ones that the audience are going to see and follow, since it's so in your face. Also, the trajectory, the arc that it follows when it goes against the wall needs to look a little bit like a curve, because it hits the wall, kind of falls down a little bit and goes back up to jump. So I'm trying to work on that. Here I'm trying to work on the silhouette to make sure that he's actually very clearly Spider-Man. So then I started looking at the details, hand, does it look convincing, does it look like he's actually kind of swinging from the hinge, from the shoulder. So I'm trying to clean it up a little bit as best as I can, and at this point I'm thinking it kind of works, so let's move on. So with the web shooting, I mentioned before, it's really simple, but I decided to add a little overlap to make sure that it doesn't feel dead when he shoots the web and stays still. I decided to put a little movement on the hand when he opens and closes to make sure that it feels pretty good. Also, I added a fist when he grabs the web. I think it's only natural, and a little bit of web movement to actually add that secondary motion after he grabs the web. It's not a lot, it's only a little bit, and I kept it simple because I basically at this point I'm running out of time, so I need to actually just do this as quick as possible. I just spent maybe about half an hour or so doing this web shooting as best as I could.
So now we have animation that is kind of working at this point. I can't really spend much more time with the animation at this point. I need to let it go, even though I really feel like I need to keep going and I need to actually polish these moves, and there's so many pops and things that are not working. I need to wrap it up because I really want to finish this by the end of this week. I'm going to leave the animation there and I'm going to jump onto Final Cut Pro now, trying to actually embellish those animations with some nice graphics and all that stuff, see if you can wrap it up in a nice way. I'm going to also jump onto Photoshop because I need a graphic here and graphic there from Photoshop in order to actually kind of jazz it up a little bit. I have only about a day and a half, I think, left. So let's jump into Final Cut Pro and Photoshop and get this done. Well, that was it. I feel super tired at this point. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. Please leave a like. Press that bell icon so you get notified whenever I upload next. I upload these videos weekly, but if you press that bell, you don't have to think about it. YouTube will tell you when a new video comes along. If you don't know what to say, just leave a comment with either dope or nope in the comments, and then I'll know that you guys are either feeling it or not feeling it at all. I hope you guys have a nice week. See you guys in the next video. Stay well, stay safe. Peace!